Tonight on Newswire LA, we conclude our coverage of the mayoral candidates forum from Mount Gilead Baptist Church in South Los Angeles. All of this and more on Newswire LA, right after this. Welcome back to our coverage of the SCLC's Mayoral Candidates Forum from Mount Gilead Baptist Church in South Los Angeles. During the first half hour, we've had lively and thought-provoking discussions on the issues affecting Los Angeles while gaining insight into the candidates and their plans as they fight for LA's top job. As we continue, we're going to lose candidate Eric Garcetti to another event slated on his calendar. But we will continue with the remaining candidates, who are Wendy Gruhl, Kevin James, and Jan Perry. Secondly, we're going to go for a format change, and the questions will now no longer be asked by the moderators, but they'll be submitted by the folks sitting right here in the sanctuary. And let's head back out onto the floor, and we'll see you back here shortly.
Unemployment in this section of Los Angeles is the highest since the Depression, and business opportunity is the lowest in decades. What are your plans to create job and business opportunities within your first 6 months in office, if elected mayor?
As mayor, one, I will guarantee that every young person from one of our communities, a Latino or African American community, or where there's a low-income area of this city, will be guaranteed a summer job once again. Two, I will bring job skills to our community colleges, and I'll bring adult ed back to LAUSD. At LACC, Los Angeles City College, where we brought a job center using city money and put that together so we have a community college, LAUSD, and city working together. Three, looking at our schools, making sure that we get children job ready, not just with a summer job, but teaching them about things like entrepreneurialism so they can start a business when they graduate and bring jobs to South Los Angeles like my grandfather did when he saved every nickel, every penny until he could open up his own barbershop right here in South LA. And then four, I will target key industries. You see, we see entire industries, and Jan Perry deserves a lot of credit. I've worked with her, Mr. Parks. Take the construction trades where African Americans weren't working there anymore. By having local hiring agreements, and by working with unions, we brought thousands of African Americans back into trades where they didn't exist, and that's what I will do as mayor as well.
Thank you, Mr. Garcetti. Ms. Gruhl.
So as we look forward to a community that needs to have those jobs, we have to look at one, help small businesses, two, provide the kind of incentives that are necessary, three, reduce the business tax so people can feel competitive, four, provide the kind of educational opportunities, as I mentioned earlier, that shouldn't depend on your zip code, and five, the importance of training our workforce for the future. And the last is, every single day that I am mayor of Los Angeles, I will be calling businesses to say, here is a location I'd like you to move into. Here is the kind of funding that we think is necessary using our community development block grant dollars, using our Section 108 dollars, and making sure that we advocate on the federal level like I did as someone from the Department of Housing and Urban Development to provide the kinds of monies that were necessary.
How many years will you wait? What I will do as mayor, I talked about my business improvement package earlier. If the city council won't pass it within 30 days, I become a broadcaster again. I come to the communities, I raise the money, use my communication skills, and we put the business improvement package on the ballot. If the city council won't give it to us, the people will. Because the people aren't going to wait any more years. Los Angeles, the greatest asset is our people. We need to take advantage of that. Thank you.
As mayor, I will immediately set upon reversing that and tie them back together again in whatever legal manner that I can do. I will continue to take the hotel tax and tie it to job creation here in the city, throughout the city, and in particular in areas like South Los Angeles, East Los Angeles, Pico Union, areas where people are severely disadvantaged, to make sure that not only are they put back to work, they are put back to work on the public record.
Next question. Damian Goodman, please stand. His question is, will you support appropriating additional dollars to the Crenshaw LAX line for the specific purpose of undergrounding or subterranean, I assume, rail from 48th to 59th Street on Crenshaw Boulevard? Is that correct? All right, Ms. Williams, you're up first. Let me repeat it again. Will you support appropriating additional dollars to the Crenshaw LAX line for the specific purpose of subterranean or going underground or below grade a rail from 48th to 59th Street on Crenshaw?
I've already gone on record when the MTA was considering this on not only the Leimert Park stop, but also going underground and supporting the efforts to find additional money to do that, and making sure that the benefits that occur on Crenshaw Boulevard for all of those businesses were part of that plan, and the engagement of the public as well. So it's a short answer, because yes, we will work together to do that, and thank you for your leadership on this.
And as Damian knows from my attendance at his Crenshaw Transit Coalition meetings, I support him. I will do so. You know what's interesting about this, not just tunneling under Crenshaw Boulevard, but also the station at Leimert Park. We have an opportunity to pay for this in the numbers that exist. You see, MTA reports, and the mayor had mentioned this, and Damian, I don't remember how many months ago, maybe 13 months ago or something, the mayor's talking about the fact that we are seeing in the West LA, the bids coming in for the West LA subway, at 30% or so below what we expected. Well, if you do those numbers here with the Crenshaw line, you're able to pay for Leimert Park, you're able to pay for what we want to do. And so there is money there with, you know, if you just look a little harder, look a little deeper, and you can take advantage in certain circumstances of the economic challenges that we face. And that's the environment that we're in, and it should be taken advantage of for this benefit.
Thank you, Mr. James. Ms. Berry.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This opportunity will probably never occur in our lives. And so I think that it is worth every inch of sweat and hard work to assemble the funding to not only go underground down Crenshaw, to finally connect our rail system to the airport. Not only is that good for South Los Angeles, it's good for the entire city. But we cannot forget one important point. Leimert Park is an iconic epicenter of African American cultural life and has a national and international reputation. We would be remiss, we would be short-sighted if we didn't assemble the funding to build a station to bring travelers and tourists and people who just want to spend time in a cultural hub in this city to Leimert Park, to spend their time, to spend their money, and to truly enjoy themselves.
What is your plan for small business growth, and would you be open to some kind of tax subsidies for small businesses?
Oh, Leonard, yes and yes. But I'm going to take a minute to explain. When I talk about my business improvement package, that's all about small business growth. It's exactly what we need across our city, but there's something else, Leonard, that the Mayor James administration provides for small business. And especially small business in South Los Angeles and in Koreatown and in other parts of the city where they feel shaken down by City Hall, whether it is the Building and Safety Department, whether it is the Housing Department, whether it is the DWP. It happens over and over and over again, such that we have had people arrested, charged, and convicted. And the LA Times wrote a story not long ago about this happening in Koreatown and people in City Hall wanting to keep it quiet. So not only, Leonard, will we have incentives for small business, and when I talked about business tax reform, that is geared directly at small business. And when I talked about ending this morass in City Hall of red tape, trying to get a permit to open a business or to improve a business, it's much easier. This is geared towards small business too.
One of the fastest ways to help small businesses here in the city of Los Angeles is to deal with your Department of Water and Power bills and to make sure that they are lower and more affordable and that people don't have to pay their bills in installments and that they can pay them in one payment because the rates are so high. That is one of the best and most direct ways to be able to help people. Now, I've had a growth or an explosion in some ways of restaurants, small restaurants, independent restaurants, family-owned restaurants. So what I did is I assembled a forum for people who wanted to open a business for a restaurant. And on that forum were the building and safety people, the planning people, the people from alcohol beverage control, the people from LAPD, any sort of people from the planning department. Sat down once a month. We took all the cases that were new and pushed them through so that people could open their business at a faster pace, put people back to work, and earn an income and thus generate more revenue to the city. And that is the type of mayor that I will be.
So we have to look at how the city manages and works with small business, and I would like to set up a small business ombudsman kind of partnership in those departments to be able to respond to that. But it's more than that. It is going back to that business tax reform. Because when you look at it, the thing I did in 2006 was say, wait a minute, if you have gross receipts of $100,000 or less, you shouldn't pay business tax anymore. If you want to move your business in the city of LA in those first 2 years, you should know that in fact that's going to continue to be, they shouldn't pay business tax. We should look at the fact that gross receipts is not an indicator of profit, but it's also about ensuring that the companies that are in Los Angeles and the city of LA, I mentioned the audit that I did that said, you know, a lot of times contracts the cities get, they get these, you know, the prime contractors, and then subs who have been brought in to be competitive and minority-owned businesses never get a piece of the pie. That's wrong. That's critically important. I believe that I could do that as mayor, to have that kind of forum in which we bring some of those major businesses and then bring some of the small businesses to connect them. But lastly, it is also about ensuring that the city of Los Angeles provides a kind of bridge loans incentives for someone who wants to expand. That money doesn't exist. Our banks aren't doing it. We need to be able to see how we can help some small businesses. I had a manufacturer who wanted to do solar panels, and he just couldn't get there, so I think the city has a role to play in that.
Children are killed almost every day by gun violence. What is your stance on the control of handguns and assault weapons?
Well, we have to have a hands-on approach here in the city of Los Angeles while we wait for the federal government to catch up with where we are, protecting the children. A Safe Passages program to protect them to and from school. Strong regulations, not symbolic regulations where you regulate, you know, from one city to the next, and all somebody has to do is to go into Culver City and get what they can't get here in Los Angeles. So it has to be a regional solution to statewide, and obviously working with the rest of the country. This is a very hard issue to tackle. The NRA is a very, very powerful lobby, but we have to hold on to what we hold dear and to be true to that, and we're going to have to fight it out. So whatever it takes, if it takes supporting the president in his detailed proposal and implementing similar measures here in the city of Los Angeles, and then lobbying the governor to do the same on behalf of the entire state of California, that's what I'll do.
As someone who has been impacted in my family by gun violence and murders of my cousins when they came in with a gun, or at my business where there was a murder-suicide by an automatic weapon. This happens in our neighborhoods every single day. We can no longer allow it to occur without us standing up and saying that we must do something together. And we must ensure that it isn't easier to get guns than it is mental health services. And as mayor, I'll work with the police department, our communities, our neighborhoods, and ensuring that that occurs, and ensuring that we work with the federal government to protect our communities and our schools.
As I mentioned in our first televised debate on ABC 7, I spoke with a couple of you about that earlier this evening. We have to end easy access to guns. That's why I said on that televised debate that I do support a ban on assault weapons and high-frequency magazines. I also support closing this gun show loophole when they're talking about background checks, also when you have the private transfer of guns from one person to another. But I proposed, as an idea, a school marshal program modeled in part after the air marshal program that we have. Because you have people on campus, and one may never know whether they are a school marshal or not. It might be a school employee, it might be a visitor, it might be a parent, but with a school marshal program that is highly publicized, those that would perpetrate these tragedies have a reason to think twice, to know that they may be in the range of one of those school marshals. So something that we should add to the debate for school safety, and thank you for the question.
Fanny has asked the question, workers at LAX are currently fighting to retain good jobs and thousands fight to make their jobs better. Contractors openly fight against workers and unions at LAX. What will you do to end union busting at LAX?
Thank you very much, Fanny. Thank you for the question. And I believe in being honest and direct with people. I don't believe in union busting. I do support collective bargaining agreements. So I want to say that up front. I think it's important to say that so that you know and you hear it directly from me. I do support people having the right to speak on the record, be a part of a process that is on the record, and to be able to advocate on their behalf for their health care, their pension, their rights and hours and wages and benefits and all of that. Now, I know you're having a controversy out there now, and you've been in the city council a number of times, and I think the last time you were there, you did not get what you wanted. And I know you're continuing the battle, and all I can say to you is this: I support your right to fight. I think it's important as elected officials that we hear what you have to say, hear it on the record, and to be objective in the way that we make whatever determination we make when we are called upon to vote, to be fair, and to be honest, and to be respectful, and to do it on the record, and to do it in public, for everybody to see, to hear, and to witness.
These individuals who represent a union have been here and worked very, very hard to ensure that all of the employees, particularly those with this company, who have been working in the airlines and cleaning and all the others, have the same kind of health care and benefits and living wage that's required by the city of Los Angeles. I've worked very closely with the leader, Mike Garcia, as well as having conversations with the individuals at the airport and with our contract administration to ensure that all of the rules are followed and that we stand up as elected officials and say we do not condone and do not support union busting, that we do not condone taking away the rights of our individuals who are working in those companies. And so I want to thank them because many of these individuals who have been working there have risked a lot by standing up. And that's what a union does, is stand up for those that may not have a voice.